So, how you feeling today, man?
Feeling pretty good. I had an acupuncture appointment this morning. That went pretty well. But it's been a good morning. I'm alive. I'm well. I feel strong. So that's what's important. Yeah.
How's training camp been going for you? I think Morrell, at least on paper, is the best guy that you ever fought. So, have you been trying to do anything different in terms of like preparation, or not really?
I mean, I've done some different things. So I started camp out in Vegas. And obviously it's a high altitude there. And then I came to Nashville to finish out my camp. And of course, it's important to know that we were originally scheduled to fight in April. So, I mean, for the better part of the year, I've been preparing to fight, a left-handed fighter like himself. So it's just been obviously the intensity to picked up intensity because this is the biggest fight of my career. It's for an interim belt. So the focus has been a lot more intense. And the goal is to just make sure that it all culminates in a great performance that'll lead to a victory for me on December 16th.
Gotcha. Now, Morrell, he's only 25. He only has 9 fights under his belt, man. But
Mhm.
has a ton of buzz. Everybody's praising him as like the next guy. Like, what do you think about him? Do you think he's a little overhyped, a little overblown, or you think
I,
over the praise is warranted?
no, I definitely think he's good. He's definitely good. I think that he's a very like I said, I've said in previous interviews, he's a complete fighter. But then also, of course, there's also the propaganda machinery in boxing. There's that element where they want to push somebody, create a superstar to help, build the sport. So I understand how that works, and I know that yes, there's a little bit of a hype, but that is not to say that he's not a good fighter with a lot of great potential. He is, but at the moment, I definitely think that I'm better than him. And come December 16th, I'm just going to derail all that propaganda behind him.
Do you think you're being a little bit overlooked, maybe a little bit disrespected? Because everybody's already looking at like, okay, we want to see how Morrell matches up with like David Benavidez and like some of the other guys. Like, do you feel disrespected or how do you
I
feel?
mean, yes, I feel disrespected, but at the same time, I also feel like, I haven't really had a chance to prove myself at that level. So it's understandable. Everybody at one point, and it happens very commonly in boxing. The boxers are constantly, questioned and, ridiculed and until they prove themselves. Like it's happened to everybody. It happened to Floyd at one point in his career. It's happened to like the best. People question people all along the way. Even with Caleb, Caleb is somebody that, I have a lot of experience with. We had a lot of sparring here. And before he fought, even when he was champion, he was ridiculed a lot. It wasn't until after he fought Canelo that people started giving him some, kind of respect. So I feel disrespected, yes. But at the same time, I also feel like I have to prove myself. And this I don't see anything wrong with that at all. My last two fights, not my last two of my last three fights, I went in as an underdog. The one on Showbox last being like a plus 400 underdog. And, I just had to go in there and do what I was, what I thought of myself, what I thought myself of doing. And, I feel like I elevated myself a little bit there. So, it's up to me to prove myself come December 16th.
When you when you lay your head at night, man, how do you see this fight playing out? Do you see yourself knocking him out, or do you see yourself winning like a pretty wide decision?
I think it's going to be very, very hard to get a wide decision. I feel like I can definitely win a decision. It would either be a split or a majority decision. Granted that it's in his hometown, and it's a yeah, that's his crowd. It's a pro moral crowd that's going to be there. So it's going to be very, very hard to get wide unanimous decision. Obviously, I'm known for my power. I have 22 of my 28 wins have been by KO. So that is part of the plan. But we get in there, we test ourselves, see where we both are at, and then we go from there. Obviously, we don't get paid overtime. I'd love to knock him out, but he's a world class fighter, and I'm sure he'll be looking to do the same. So a short night is what I would best want, but I guess it'll play out how it plays out on fight night.
Where would a win kind of put you, man? Obviously, outside of Canelo, David Benavidez is the guy. You know, like is
Yes.
he the guy that you're kind of like aiming for next, or what do you
I'm
think?
not. I'm actually aiming for Canelo himself. Everybody wants, the big guy, the money guy, and everything. And Benavidez, we actually like, Benavidez and I. I wouldn't say we're like I wouldn't say we're friends, but we've it's kind of established some kind of relationship where we talked in the past, talked about possibly helping each other at some point, but that's a fight that I'll consider. Obviously, if you're not my brother, I'm like I'll fight you. So that's a fight that I think that I truly, and I'm very honest about what I feel about boxers and where they stand. And I think that Benavidez fight will be the hottest fight for anybody at super middleweight right now. But I don't think that it's an impossible task.
Including
Yes,
Canelo?
absolutely. Yes, I personally think that Benavidez beats Canelo, but hey, that's not for me to worry about right now. It's Morale is who's in front of me, and I actually think that we do have a rematch clause should he lose, but I feel like winning the interim belt, I would look the most like uh appealing to Canelo. Like, okay, this guy, just came up on the scene. He has the belt, and he would probably think I was the easiest fight of all, his options. So I think that that's very, very possible if I get the win come December 16th. So yeah.
So, let's stick around in a hypothetical world where you beat Morrell and you're saying that you're down to fight Canelo. Like
Uh-huh.
what is it about Canelo that just makes you say, yeah, he's good, he's great, but I know I could take him out, man.
I mean, I've seen the approach that a lot of guys have used. You starting back from Callum Smith, Caleb, and even of course Jamal. And I mean, Canelo is. I mean, he's a very very sound, complete fighter. He can. People underestimate his boxing ability. Um, I have a game plan in mind, something that I think I can use against him. But just like everyone, you just never know until you're in there. And I think that a lot the best way to beat him will have to do with just effective movement with also like volume punching. So it's just going to take a lot of hard work. You're going to have to be in the best shape of your life, very well conditioned to sustain that through 12 rounds. And I really think that's the best way to beat him. I mean, Bivol showed the way he beat him, and people attributed it to the size difference and whatnot. But I think that he's definitely beatable, and I would explore that avenue should that ever happen. Yeah.
What do you think about Demetrius Andrade as a fighter, and what do you think about his performance against Benavidez? My personal opinion, I would like to see you guys get it on. So what do you think about him?
Yeah, so Demetrius, I'm a little I kind of have a problem with him personally because back in 2021 when he was with Matchroom Boxing, they offered a fight. They offered me the fight against Demetrius when he was looking to come up to 168, and I said yes. I was waiting on the contract. The contract never came, and last I heard, Demetrius wanted more money. So I was like, okay, well, negotiate as little off my purse as possible and give it to him, and let's make it happen. And then they come back around and they're like, okay, no, we're not even interested in you anymore. We're going in another direction. So I was like, fine. So I then proceeded to go to LA for a little bit to train out there. So while I was in camp out there, I got a call from them a week to the fight, offering me even less than they had offered before for the fight. And I was like, huh, okay, well, I don't really want to take less, but this is an opportunity, so I'll take it. So I proceed to change my flight, my plans and everything. I literally booked a flight to leave the next day. So I would, get together with my team in Nashville, only for them to call me a few hours after I changed my itinerary to tell me, oh, it's the whole fight's completely scrapped off. So I mean, I have a personal problem with him, and it's something that I want to settle with him. But as a fighter, yeah, I feel like he had a lot of talent. Oh, he has a lot of talent. He just allowed too many years to go by without really, testing himself and pushing himself, and that was what showed in the Benavidez fight. I felt like he was doing really well early on, but I just think that not having fought at that high level for so long is what hurt him.
Do you think that he actually quit in that fight?
Absolutely. I mean, anytime a fighter refuses to come out of the corner, I mean, come on. Like you could just as easily go in there, get hit, take a knee, and then let the referee count you out. But when you choose not to come out of the corner, that's your decision. That's your personal decision, and that's always the. I don't care what it is, even if your hand is broken.
Mm,
So long as you choose not to get out of the corner and fight, you quit, and that's what it is. Simple as that.
gotcha. And just my last question for you before I let you go. Not like an official prediction per se, but do you think
Mhm.
the fight goes the full distance, or as soon as the bell rings, you're gonna look to take his head off, man?
Oh, I don't want it to go the distance. I'm looking to knock him out for sure. That's my agenda, to knock him out. So yeah.
Cool. That was the perfect way to end it. Appreciate you, man. I'll see you next week in Minnesota.
Thanks so much, Hans.